Hey all, this video is about the kings of hamlets and towns, the second chapter of the history book. We have seen that after the end of the Happan civilization, due to some natural events about which we have no clue, after like 1500 years, when the Happan civilization ended, there came a very different culture, a very different civilization with new cultural norms. And this video is going to be a very brief overview. This slide especially is going to be a very brief overview of that. So let's start. From approximately 6th century BCE, Rig Veda was composed by people living along Indus and its tributaries. Agricultural settlements emerged in northern India, Deccan Plateau, and Karnataka. Pastoralism grew to Deccan and South India. Earlier, we have seen in the Happan civilization that mostly the empire was in northern India, but now it extended. Now, after like 1500 years, after centuries, the civilization grew to South India as well. New modes of disposal of dead came by making elaborate stone structures, which was known as megaliths. Megaliths was prevalent in central and south India. The dead were buried with iron tools and weapons in many cases. States, empires, kingdoms, and new towns emerged. The sources of everything that we are going to read in this chapter include inscriptions, text, coins, and visual materials like pillars. Princess and Priyadasi. James Prinsep was an officer in East India Company. He deciphered Brahmi and Kharoshthi scripts, which were used in earliest inscriptions and coins. These scripts referred king as Priyadasi, which meant pleasant to behold, and this king often mentioned was Ashoka was often mentioned as king in these scripts. Study of inscriptions is known as epigraphy, and paleography is the study of styles of writing. Now, what is inscriptions? Inscriptions were the writings that were engraved on hard surfaces like rocks. Inscriptions record achievement, donations, and ideas of those who commissioned them. And inscriptions, like you can see that inscriptions mention the ideas of those who commissioned them. That directly means that inscriptions were very biased. So we can't truly rely on inscriptions. Prakrit was a language which was used by ordinary people. The earliest inscriptions were written in Prakrit language. Ajatasattu and Ashoka were the rulers who were known from Prakrit texts and inscriptions. The earliest states. From 6th century BC, the growth of use of iron, and there was a growth in the use of iron and coinage. There was a growth in diverse thoughts like Buddhism and Jainism. Now Mahajanpadas. You need to know what is Janpadas first. Janpada is a land where a Jana, which means a people, clan, or tribe, settles. The word is used both in Sanskrit and Prakrit language. Now, Mahajanpada is basically you can call a state. Okay. In Buddhist and Jaina texts, there were 16 states, which means 16 Mahajanpadas, which includes Vajji, Magad, Koshla, Kuru, Panchal, Gandhara, and Avanti. These are some of these 16 states, and you need to know where these states were located in India for map work. Now, the kings ruled these states and were known as Ganas or Sanghas. Mahavira and Buddha belonged to Ganas or Sanghas. Oligarchy was prevalent at that time, which means power was shared by a group of men called Rajas. Okay, and the example of this oligarchy is in Vajji. In Vajji, oligarchy was prevalent. Now, each Mahajanpada had a capital city which was fortified. And Dharma Sutras, Sanskrit texts composed, Dharma Sutras are the Sanskrit texts which are composed by Brahmins. In Dharma Sutras, the Brahmins laid norms for social categories. They divided the people based on the Varnas. You will get to know about that later in the chapter. The third slide is about Magad, which is first amongst the 16 states. Magad is now in Bihar, which is a state in India. Magad was the most powerful Mahajanpada between 6th and 4th century BCE. There were two theories for the development of Magad state. The first theory is given by modern historians, which is They believed that agriculture was productive here. The iron mines, which are now a part of Jharkhand, were accessible, which provided resources for tools and weapons. Now, elephants were an important part of an army which were found in forests there. Ganga and its tributaries meant a cheap and convenient communication. So this is everything which is required for a very good army and a very established kingdom. Now the second theory is given by Buddhist and Jaina writers. They believe that ruthlessly ambitious kings like Bimbisar and Ajatasattu and Mahapadmananda and their ministers helped implement their individual policies. The Rajgaha was the capital of Magad state. Rajgaha was the Prakrit name of Rajgir, which is now in Bihar, which meant Rajgaha meant house of the king. Rajgaha was fortified and was located amongst hills. From in the 4th century BC, the capital Rajgaha shifted to Patliputra, which is now Patna, commanding routes of communication along Ganga. They uh, they shifted their capital to Patliputra because they could get direct route to Ganga as well. An early empire. Chandgupta Maurya was the founder of Mauryan Empire. He extended his control to northwest Africa and Balochistan. His grandson Ashoka conquered Kalinga, which is coastal Orissa. Finding out about Mauryas. These are the sources which historians have found about the Mauryan Empire, which includes sculpture, account of Megasthenes. Megasthenes was a Greek ambassador to the court of Chandragupta Maurya. They have also found Arthashastra, which was written by Kautilya or Chanakya. Now, Chanakya or Kautilya were the minister of Chandragupta Maurya. Mauryas are also mentioned in Buddhist, Jaina, Puranics, and Sanskrit literature. Ashokan inscriptions on rocks and pillars are one of the most important evidences or sources of the Mauryan Empire. Now, Ashoka was the first ruler to inscribe his message on stone surfaces like rocks and polished pillars. He used inscriptions to proclaim Dhamma. Dhamma, these are some of the these are the four aspects of Dhamma, which includes respect towards elder, generosity towards Brahmins and those who renounce the worldly life, treating slaves and servants kindly, and respect for religion and traditions other than one's own. So this is all about respecting other human and their religion and their thoughts. Ashoka was a very, unique ruler as compared to those of you know, um, like Mahapadmanand or Banabhatta we have studied earlier. That's why Ashoka became very powerful. You need something to give to your audience as well. And this is what Ashoka did. He helped others. Most Ashokan inscriptions were in Prakrit language. The fifth and the last slide is about the administering the empire. There were five major political centers in the empire, which includes Patliputra, Takshila, Ujjaini, Tosili, and Soinagri. These centers were carefully chosen, like Takshila and Ujjaini were situated along long-distance trade route. Soinagri or Golden Mountain was used for tapping gold mines of Karnataka. Now, communication along both land and riverine routes were vital for the existence of the empire. So, journeys from center to provinces could have taken weeks because we have seen the extent of the Mauryan Empire. It was so large. So, because the could have taken weeks, protection was required for the people who were on the move. For that purpose, army was required. In the Megasthenes accounts we have seen, he has mentioned some committee with six subcommittees for coordinating military activity. The first committee was Navy. The second managed transport and provisions, which includes arranging bullock cars to carry equipments, procuring food for soldiers and animals, recruiting servants and artisans to look after the soldiers. The third managed foot soldiers, fourth committee managed horses, fifth managed chariots, and sixth committee managed the elephants. Now, Dhamma Mahamatta were the special officers who were appointed to spread the message of Dhamma. This is very important term, and this is all about this part. I'll be making second and third part as well. If you want a PDF of all this about all the slides, which includes notes that I have mentioned. And believe me, these notes will really help you during exams for revision. So you can just comment it down. I will attach or uh, mail a PDF to you so that it can help you. And if you enjoyed watching this video, if this video helped you in any way, please like and subscribe and comment down your queries and share your suggestions. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.